everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
What's so funny?
We're ready for Rockstar.
We are. Mandy's got her 80s rocker chick going. And I've got not 80s rocker chick going. So if you haven't figured it out, today's video is all about Rockstar Romances. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and I couldn't find the book there for a second. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and we are giving away Elsie Silver's Flawless that is signed by Elsie. It never wants to pop to the right page. It's signed by Elsie, and we'll be giving this away when we hit 250 subscribers. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you follow us on Instagram, which is linked down below, you will also get an extra entry into the drawing. So with that said, hi, ready to show the stuff off?
Let's talk about Rockstars.
Let's talk about Rockstars.
Hey, Jessica, do you want to go first?
I can totally go first. Okay, so the first book that I have.
The stage is yours.
Thank you. Oh, I see what you did there. Real good. Okay, so the first book that I have for you guys is Lilac by B.B. Reed. This is a reverse harem Rockstar romance. Poor Mandy's over there just going, oh my goodness, but it is. So this is about Braxton. She is a guitarist, and she goes out for this band. She's chosen by this band to be their guitar player. They are an all-male band, and their guitar player has just OD'd and passed away. And so she is hired to play for them, and they're like a world-renowned rock star band, rock group. That's what world-renowned rock group. And they hire her on for just a year. Now they all have issues, and they are no longer getting along. The group is just having all sorts of issues. So she is told by management that she needs to make them get along during her time there. And so that is what she does. And she uses the power of the vajayjay to do that. That's it. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not. They all hate her in the beginning. It's not really the power of the vajayjay, but they do. They all hate her. They're all jaded. And so there is a lot of enemy situation there. And it's a good thick book, but it's really good. It is. It's the power of the vajayjay. Yeah.
All right. So my first book is Lyrics of Her by Karen Crompton. And this is about Brinley and Reed. Reed is a rock god. Like, his band has been popular for a very long time. And he is getting sued by Brinley. And Brinley is accusing him of plagiarism. Brinley truly believes that he has plagiarized her. She is a struggling artist herself. She's living in New York. She's determined to not have to pack up and go home, but like, she doesn't have heat on in her apartment. She's behind on her rent. She doesn't have groceries. Like, things are like, she doesn't have anywhere to go but up at this point in time. So she is gonna sue him. And they meet for mediation, and he is like livid at her because this is like, he knows he didn't plagiarize her. And this is how he makes a living. Like, if he loses his credibility as a songwriter, their band is done. So it's not just him that is going to be impacted by this. Like, it's their whole band, everybody that works for them type situation. And so this is the story of them and how you can take a character like Reed, who obviously like does not like Brinley, like she's accusing him of something pretty horrific, to end up getting them to fall in love. Like, oh, this is so good. You have to read this Rockstar Romance.
Oh, I plan on it 100%. So my next recommendation for everybody is Midnight Blue by L.J. Shen. This is an oldie but a goodie, but I loved this one. There is audio for it. But this one is about Alex and Indigo. So Indigo is this young, optimistic, innocent girl. You know, she's very, you know, the you know, the rainbow's always out kind of a person. And Alex is this, you know, again, a rock god. He is a British rock star, and he's just, snorting his way to the top. He is wild. He's been arrested several times. He is, really going down this rabbit hole. And so Indigo is like in dire straits. She really needs the money. She falls into this job where he needs a babysitter, and she's hired on as his babysitter. They obviously clash the whole way through the book. She's hired on for 3 months to keep his head out of the toilet and out of the cocaine, and keep him away from other girls, and that whole thing. But there's this attraction between the two of them, and what happens when they go on tour, and what happens when they can't deny that anymore. So I really like this one. It's the first one that I ever read that had that babysitter of the rock star type trope, so it's always my number one go-to.
Could his pants get any lower?
I know, I was looking at that earlier. I was actually pulling this off my thing and I'm setting it down. My husband's walking around. I'm thinking, don't look down at the book. He shaves that stuff.
Yeah. Or it was airbrushed.
True, but wow. Yeah, I could just look at this one for a while. I mean, his face doesn't do it for me, but the rest of it does.
Okay, you look at the book and I'll tell about my next book.
Yay, okay.
Okay, my next book is Dirty Like Me by Janie Diamond. This is about Katie and Jesse, and it's the first book in the Dirty Band series. So the first, I can't talk. So Dirty is the book series. Anyway, let's just talk about the book. Okay, so Katie Bloom accidentally kind of ends up in a Rockstar's video. She's just visiting her best friend at work, and somehow somebody sees her and they're like, she's the one we want. She has the girl next door, the pretty girl next door look. Let's put her in this video. And her and Jesse do this video. They're like making out and that sort of thing in the music video. And they have like a really good chemistry. People respond really well to this music video. So he proposes, let's go on tour. I'm going to pay you a crazy amount of money to pretend to be my girlfriend for 6 weeks. And we're going to go on tour, promote my new album with the band. And people are going to eat it up that they see you in the music video and think that you're, my girlfriend. And so that's how this starts. And, it can't be as simple as that.
Never is. It never is.
It is very, very good. So good.
Okay, so my next book is The Life We Wanted, and it is by Kelsey Kingsley. So this is about our heroine is Tabitha. She is an aunt to I think he's 15-year-old, her 15-year-old nephew, Grayson. And Tabitha's sister has just passed away, or recently passed away. And so she has full custody, but they've always lived together. She's always been the responsible sister. When her sister got pregnant, she was the one to, taking care of Grayson. And she's always been there. Her and her sister used to love to go to rock concerts when they were younger. And so nobody knows who the father of Grayson is. The only person who knows that is Grayson's mom, who's passed away. So once she passes away, Tabitha is cleaning out some stuff at one day, and she finds all these letters, and they're letters from her sister to Grayson's father. So then meanwhile, Sebastian, who's a drummer for a rock band, gets a letter in the mail saying, hey, you're a dad. My sister's dead. You're a dad. Your son's 15. His name is Grayson. And this is the story, like when they bring them all together. Grayson is having a very hard time. Tabitha is extremely uptight, and because she's always had to be the dependable and responsible one. And obviously Sebastian is not as uptight. And so this is what happens when those two crash together.
Okay, Jessica, you ready for my next one?
I am.
Okay, so my next Rockstar romance is actually 4 books in a series, but they're all about the same couple. And it's Wicked by Piper Lawson. So this is about Haley and Jax. And then if you really want to continue with their family, you can read about their kids in the next series. So Haley is she's kind of a nerd. She likes to code and do things like that. she doesn't really like to be touched and be like in crowded spaces. So why on earth is she touring with a rock band? Well, that is a good question. So she goes in to get a job working kind of behind the scenes. Jax is there, who's the star of the band Wicked. And he doesn't really like Haley at first, but she ends up on the tour with them, and they end up on the same tour bus together. And things kind of start to happen, and he starts to feel a little bit protective of her in some ways because he realizes like she doesn't like it when people touch her. Like if she's in an elevator, it kind of freaks her out and that sort of thing. What really got me to read this series, though, besides the fact that they're just so polar opposite, like you take somebody who's kind of like that nerd who doesn't like all that limelight or, being around a bunch of people, and then you take this like rock icon and put them together, like how does that work? Like when their worlds are so incredibly different. But what really got this is that on the back cover, it's like, it says, "The day he gave me his hoodie is the day I fell in love with him." And I'm like, oh, the hoodie. I have to read this.
Oh, why does that make me think of high school?
I think that's probably why.
I think so. I really do. I think so.
It's a good book. So he does have like that standoffish rock star. Like he doesn't like her at first.
Yeah.
And then slowly kind of comes around.
Okay. All right. And the hoodie.
Do you need to take a nap while we're recording?
Am
I boring you?
No. Shush. All right. So my next read is called Rockstar Interrupted, and it's by S.M. Shade. So this is about Axton and Naomi. So Axton is this big rock star, and one day he gets a call from social services telling him that he has a child. He has a 1-year-old baby boy, and that he needs to decide what he wants to do. And so, he never wanted to be a dad. He's got some things in his past that he doesn't want to deal with. But when he's faced with, does this child go into the system because mom is not around anymore, or do I take my baby? He goes, he mans up, and he goes and he gets his baby. So he really quickly becomes extremely overprotective of the baby, baby Caden. And starts interviewing nannies, but he is so overbearing and overprotective that it's really annoying. And they finally bring in Naomi, and Naomi and him do not get along. She does not take his crap. She gives it as good as she takes, she is just on point with him. And so this is a duet. This is their story. It's about the two of them, but it's been like 3 years ago. So a lot of this is a little fuzzy, but I remember loving this duet. I really want to do a reread since it is kind of fuzzy, but I do love this series, or this duet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We need to figure out transition words.
I know.
Like when we transition from person to person.
I know.
I'm like, all right. Or I say, okay.
And I'm like, so tell me about your next one. Okay.
All right. I will.
Okay.
Okay. My next book is Unexpected by Elizabeth Aten, or Aten. I don't know. Aton. And this is actually her first book, but it does not read like a first book. Like I went searching to find more books by her after I read this first book because it was so good. And I was bummed to find out this was her first book, but hopefully she'll have more books out. This is about Whit. He is a single dad rock star. Like he's a big time rock star. Can't really go out and about without getting noticed. And this is also about Ava, like, if you can think of every shitty hand to be dealt with, like she's had it. Her parents have died. Her little brother has died. And she's left basically all alone. She's 23. She quit school when her parents got sick. So she's waitressing, just trying to scrape by. The heat has been turned off in her home, and she's about to get evicted. Like, I mean, things are very dire for her. And on a whim, she decides to go out one night and just pretend like that's not her life and that things are much better. And out of character, Whit is in Portland for his concert and he decides that he's going to go to the bar like just one night. He's very devoted dad, so he doesn't do stuff like this. But since he's only in town for this one night, he's flying home early to see his daughter again. He's going to go out. He disguises himself and meets her at a bar. And they end up having a one night like stand. And the book kind of goes from there. It is so incredibly good. And you really, truly feel everything that Ava is going through. Like, like sometimes authors can just really pull you into their world where you just totally feel for that character. And this is a book like that. And even though like crappy thing after crappy thing keeps happening to her, I didn't feel like I was reading like how, you know, soap operas where you're like, really, you're getting kidnapped for the 5th time? Like, that's weird. Like, it doesn't read like that. You just truly feel like life just keeps giving her shitty hand after shitty hand. And so it is so incredibly good. And I absolutely love Wit. Like, if you're looking for bad boy rock star, Wit is not it. But Wit is, I love him. He's good.
Okay. All right. So
tell me about your next book.
So my last recommendation, you still have one more though, right?
I do.
Yeah, because I start. Okay. So my last recommendation is the Bellboys of Bellrose series by Tate, James, and Jamin Eve. This is like their newest series, and I think all the books are out right now. If not, the fourth one is, or the last one is just, let me fix this. The last one is just about to come out. They come out pretty quickly. But this is a reverse harem. Once again, reverse harem, Rockstar meets Mafia. So this is about Billy Bellrose. And she had these 2 boys that she grew up with that she was very close to. And one of them was Jace. Hold on. Yeah, Jace and Angela, which she calls Angel. So they grew up together, the 3 of them, and then something happened when she was 16, and she and Jace broke up, and he went off and made it big, and he wrote all of these songs about her and the heartbreak, and then he even named his band after her as like a, you know, F you to her. And so we start the book out where she is in dire straits. She's, you know, flat broke, and she's, you know, we know that there's some other stuff mafia related going on behind the scenes because she talks about her parents' death and stuff. And she sees someone getting killed, and she runs, and she realizes that it's Angel. It's Angelo. Angel is what she calls him. It's his family, and they are after her. They're the ones who put the hit out on this other person she sees getting killed, and they're trying to chase her down. Meanwhile, she runs into this guy, which was Rhett. She runs into Rhett, and he is the guitar player in the band. He decides that he's going to keep her when he meets her, and she is supposed to go with him for a few days on their bus to keep her safe because these mafia guys are after her. But it's it's like 3 or 4 days from where they're at, their location, to New York. But all these things happen in between, and can her and Jace make amends? And there's another player, and his issues. It's just really good. In like true Tate James fashion, it is good. It is really good. Like, you're mixing like 2 awesome subgenres here. So it's good.
Okay, my next Rockstar read, and I guess our last Rockstar recommendation, and I know you would recommend this book too, No Tomorrow by Carrie Ann Cole. It is a big book, so it's over 600 pages, but it is worth every 600 page, or every page, I guess, to the 600. Okay, if you've watched our channel, you know I love Carrie Ann Cole. So, of course, this is going to be a fantastic read. But it's not just a fantastic read because it's Carrie Ann Cole. Like, the book is phenomenal. And honestly, I don't think you're going to find a Rockstar romance like No Tomorrow. Like, it's not a trope that you're going to be like, been there, done that. Like, this is a standalone all by itself. So this is about Blue and Piper. And the back of the book, I just want to read this. It says, "They say you never forget your first time. Mine was with a homeless musician who effed my brains out under a bridge." So when you read that, you're like, what on earth am I going to be reading? And I'll tell you, when I read the back, blurb and then actually read the book, I'm like, wait, this is not what I thought I was getting myself into. But it is an incredible journey of love. And Jessica, I really don't know how to talk about this book.
I think that's it. I remember
without giving stuff away.
Yeah.
There's like critical things that happen throughout the book. And I mean, honestly, this is a book that I want to go back and reread now that I know everything, because there's things like, as you find stuff out, you're like, really? Oh my gosh. But to really talk about the book that would give away a lot of this stuff, I would definitely check triggers on it, because there are a lot of hard things that come up in this book that might be things that you don't want to read about. But it's so good.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out, and I was watching others. What? It's very heavy. Put it down. I remember when it first came out, and I was listening to others talk about it, you know, watching their YouTube channels or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, you have to read this one. It's about a homeless musician." And I'm like, I don't want to read that. Why would I want to read about a homeless musician? Like, who? Like, ew. There's no like, where do they shower? And then you want me to think of him as sexy? I just remember thinking like, what? And then I finally broke down and read it, and I was like, oh, it is so much more than that. And it's just, oh, so good. From the get-go, I was hooked, absolutely hooked. The audio for it was great too, but I was hooked.
Yes.
And couldn't put it down.
Oh yeah, I just sat and read.
Like, I abandoned my children. I could not put it down.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic read. But it's just really hard. Like, I know when you think like, oh, I'm going to read about a girl who did a homeless musician under a bridge. It doesn't
work that way. It just doesn't.
It's not like that though. So like what you read on the back and what you think you're about to read isn't what you're going to be reading.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I have a kid in here.
Okay.
All right, so that is what we have for you guys. Hopefully you love these recommendations. Let us know what your favorite Rockstar recommendation is down in the comments below.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.